console. Let's move forward because up next we have a session in partnership with Snapchat. So before I invite our next speaker on stage, we'll have the AV on the screen, please. Here we go.
We're the Gen Z, and we almost never have time. We just have moments, and we snap them. Like each one of us, a snap has its own journey. It's the hype, the chaos, the win, the grind. But also, it's the real stuff, the moments that actually matter. This isn't a performance. It's not about who we impress, it's about how we express. We're showing what we feel. Telling is so last season. Snapchat. Say it in a snap.
Well, that's right. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are now about to march ahead to our next session. And we have with us Yagnesh Ravi joining in. In fact, he's been instrumental in building a platform where creativity feels effortless and expression feels authentic. Firstly, thank you so much for joining us. I know we're talking about Snapchat. Can I have a quick chat with you?
Yeah, of course.
All right, because why not? All right, let's do the center stage as well,
All right.
so that everyone can see you. But Yagnesh, first up, if not, I know we are about to deep dive into what all that you have to share, but if Snapchat were a person at a party, I'm going to repeat that again. If Snapchat were a person at a party, what kind of personality would it have?
I think he'll be the person who will not try too hard and he's just naturally cool.
Naturally cool, someone who doesn't need to hide. I love that actually. And I love that. And I think that resonates truly. All right, coming up next. Now, Gen Z, if Gen Z were reviewing brands on Snapchat like a dating app, what do you think? What quality would make them swipe left instantly?
I think if they're more native on the platform, I think it shows up very evidently when you take something elsewhere and put it on a platform like Snap. So that's what we've seen every single time that they just look like, okay, this is looks like it belongs here.
Oh, lovely. It looks like you know your audience as well. Thank you so much for that, Yagnesh. Over to you.
I'll just take the click.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Yagnesh Ravi, Ad Solutions lead Snapchat. Let's have a loud round of applause. Over to you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yagnesh and I lead Ad Solutions at Snap. So today we're going to cover a bunch of things, right? We're going to go from what's happening with Gen Zs, the attention economy, and what does building for human connection look like, and last but not the least, what does cultural integration mean for the new generation? Firstly, quick show of hands. Are there any Gen Zs in the room? Wow, there's quite a bit of Gen Zs in the room. Amazing. Okay, keep your hands up just for a second. How many of you use Snap? I think my job here is done, right? For every one of you here, you could see what was happening over here, right? The first thing that we're going to speak about when it comes to Gen Z is simply this. Gen Zs are now the largest cohort in the country by population at 377 million. The part that a lot of marketers are not realizing is they are driving 930 billion in Indian consumption right now. We work with BCG, and that is about 43% of the consumption at the moment. And it's expected to go to 2 trillion in just a few years, right? The oldest Gen Z is now nearly 30. So this is not a cohort for the future. They are driving consumption in the country right now. And this cuts across almost all categories, right? From things like footwear and fashion, all the way to even categories like automobiles. But the part that I want to spend a few minutes on is what's happening in the new digital environment that they're in. And a lot of this has shifted just in the last 3 or 4 years, right? The feed had its moment, right? Few years ago, it was a place where you discover something, where you discover things that are new, that's happening in the world around you. Right now, most people are ending their time with a feed by saying, oh my God, I can't believe I wasted so much of my time. That's not the platform where you're going to build brands. It's probably the time where it's never ever been easier to reach audiences in the history of marketing, right? Very simple, turn it on, put in a creative, and you can reach millions and millions. Yet, it's never ever been harder to be recalled or remembered. That's the dichotomy of the world that we're living in right now. So to deep dive on this, we work with an attention partner, Lumen, who's right at the forefront of this globally, to build the largest ever attention research in India. We came out with this just a few months ago in partnership with WPP. And there are three takeaways that I want to run with you guys. The first one, device metrics are absolutely irrelevant in today's world. What do I mean by device metrics? Metrics that just says how your ad played on a device and has no correlation with a human paid attention to it or not, right? You see a non-skip ad, you go get water, finish whatever you have to do, come back, go back to your video. VTRs are phenomenal. Human attention is zero, right? So that's what this tried to figure. And what we found out, in a world where Gen Zs are seeing more than 400 videos in a day, attention had 4x higher correlation with lift than VTR. 4x. That's the gap that exists today between device-based metrics and actually optimizing for human attention. The second thing is Gen Z's attention fades very quickly. When we compared millennial curves attention along with Gen Z's, we saw that after a few seconds, there starts to show a very big gulf. They do not pay attention for more than a few seconds. We call this the Gen Z attention tax. It's something that marketers need to learn and marketers need to build towards, right? Because the longer it goes, the further and further becomes the attention gap between the two cohorts. And finally, we need to stop using frequency as a blunt force object. Take one creative and smash it again and again and again. Gen Zs have built a skip reflex. If it is something that they've seen before, it gets skipped immediately. So what does this mean? So it's much harder to drive impressions that are actually viewed. It's much harder to drive a message over a long period of time. And it's much harder to build frequency. Fun, right? But what this means is while the consumer behavior has shifted rapidly just in the last 3 or 4 years, we feel like planning has not caught up. We need to completely reimagine storytelling when it comes to Gen Z in this attention economy, right? And our research with Lumen highlighted there are 3 parts that are the key factors that decide what is the attention an average consumer pays. The first one is the platform. Each platform has very different attention levels depending on what people come for. Do they come for lean back scroll or do they come for active intentional usage? The second part is the format, right? Is it a format that engages user to go deeper, or is it once again a passive format? And last but not the least is creative relevance. So let's deep dive into each one of them. I'll tell you where Snap comes in and what makes it different. The first part, at its core, Snap was built to be a place where two friends can have a conversation like they do in real life. If, say, me and Monica were having a conversation right now, if there was a video camera and a mic and there were people giving us scores based on how we're talking, we'll talk differently, right? And that's what the founders felt every one of online conversations were like. They built a tool which is private by default. Your messages are just deleted. It is private. It is not for the world to see. It is just for you and that other person or your group of friends. And that has helped Snap be what it is. It's less performative, it's less perfect, and it's more private or personal. And I think most of you would agree in today's world, this is more and more necessary, right? And this is what's helped us go from 30 million monthly active users a few years ago to 250, well over 250 million plus right now, right? The core ideology and the core belief of Snap is really resonating in India, particularly among the Gen Zs. Almost 90% of this are under 34 and primarily Gen Zs, right? So we have the scale. If you go back to the number I said before, which is 377 million Gen Z users in India, 300 to 320 internet penetrated maybe, 250 million of them on Snap every single month. You could see what type of a penetration that is and the scale of our usage and why the hands look like that when I start the first test. So jumping into formats, right? From very engaging interactive video, poll stickers, to reminders, to non-skip video, to what I believe is the most immersive ad format in the country right now. That AR ad went live with Amazon Prime Video just a few days ago. It basically makes each user into one of the movies or the titles that come on the show, right? We spoke about how AI can create, instead of one asset, can make 1,000 assets. This is one creative that makes millions and millions of personalized assets, right? It's me right now in each one of these. And every one of those could have you. Imagine the shareability and imagine the level of personalization. We feel like the true power of AI is not in making marketers' process of making a video shorter, but is to really bring it to life to the end consumer, right? So as a result, it's no surprise that when we did the study with Lumen, formats like the Lens and commercials fared right at the top. They stood much ahead of most of the other platforms in the industry in terms of driving and holding users' attention. One of the things that we've been super excited about Snap over the last few weeks and months is that the very heartbeat of the app, which is chat, we started monetizing it and we started running our new ad format on the surface. So we call it Sponsored Snap. And we've seen huge amount of traction from brands across the category over the last few weeks to try this out. In fact, we started a research with Kantar, and you guys are the very first to see it. Kantar compared ads on chat, Sponsored Snap ads, with in-feed platforms across the country. And what they found was it was 70% better, or it would draw 70% higher lift than your traditional feeds, right? It is a place where people come to speak to the people they love. It is a place where they come to speak to the place where they feel happy speaking to the people where they are. So it's a very, very leaned in, immersive surface. And it's no surprise that ads over there, the same ad, cut across different three, it drove much, much higher lift than what they would see otherwise. So you put all of this together, right? We spoke about AI, you spoke about video, you spoke about interactive video, AR, maps, and so on and so forth. The very, very unique thing that Snap allows is it allows you to say the same message in very different formats. I'm not talking about a 30-seconder and a 10-seconder, right? I'm talking about completely different multimodal formats. So what we allow advertisers and what's worked well is the first two frequencies video, third and fourth frequencies AR, and the fifth and sixth frequency is chat. Same message, said differently, and what does that lead to? We've seen that it drives 5x higher active attention than other platforms, and 134% lift in consideration, right? This is what our advertiser mentors saw. When they moved from a single format to multi-format, they saw that they had 4x higher attention and much, much, much stronger lift in awareness across the board. The last part I want to speak about is creative integration. So before that, a quick raise of hands again. Among the Gen Zs who use Snap, can you put your hands up again? Okay, I want to run a contest on streaks. Okay, so if I were to say, how many of you have more than a 100-day streak? How many of you would have it? 200 day? 200 days. 150 days? 120 days? What is the number? 120 days. Okay. So for those of you who don't know what a streak is where you send a message to somebody and somebody sends you back on one day, that's called a single streak, right? So 120-day streak means that person has come to the app every single day over the last 4 months. So one of the big drivers that we see across when it comes to people's numbers going up tremendously is cultural movements. The key difference between Snap and all other platforms is every part of the app lights up when there's a festival. People come to our app to create their greetings. They use AR to save their messages, save their videos, share it on all platforms, and find their best friends here. So let me quickly play a video.
Calendar. From Republic Day to Valentine's, moments turn into lenses, stories, and chats. Holi gets messy. And match day, even louder. This fandom doesn't sit in the stands. It lives in the GC. From friendship day to lucky with the fan. From Onam Sadhya to festive season plan. On Snapchat, every celebration becomes a moment to share and discover. From attention to reach to attentive reach, all on Snap. Snap is where Gen Z celebrates culture. Brands don't just celebrate. Celebrate in a snap.
So what we have is we have a platform which is private. It has your closest set of friends, and it has the most advanced AR tech in the world. So what that means is for every festival that happens, I'm taking two, which one that got over and one that's coming up this weekend. We see very, very big spikes in usage. Every Holi, we see at least a 40% spike in story post versus the baseline. And for something like Mother's Day, it goes up as much as 35% over the baseline, right? And this is a platform that has 250 million plus users. So you could imagine what would happen across the year. Because India is a country that celebrates almost through the year, right? From New Year's to Valentine's, all the way peaking at Diwali, where it goes up as much as 75% above the baseline, right? So let me give you maybe an example of what building a campaign on Snap during these moments look like. Right now, we have the cricket season live, and we built an array of customized solutions, right? From a cricket API lens. Imagine turning on the lens and it shows you is 123 for 1. It updates to 127 for 1. And we have match-based triggers on chat, all the way to organic integrations such as stickers, AR bar, and brand challenges. And we have brands across categories from AI platforms to quick commerce to CPG who are currently live right now. Or you could do a short burst, like what Swiggy did for Friendship Day, right? Swiggy worked with us, and they created user-level customized offers for Snapchatters. Each Snapchatter got their own personalized coupon code that they can share with their friends. And for every friend that comes on board, they can share it more. So what we saw is in a single day, using Snapchat's takeover properties, they were able to reach 66 million users. And this drove 60,000 transactions for them, purchases in a single day, right? So from attention all the way to action, Snap can do the whole funnel for you. So in summary, 3 things, right? Snap is built for human connection. Its intentional design helps drive much higher attention than what you get in a lean-back, passive platform. Number 2, on format. Our multi-format storytelling enables you to avoid ad fatigue and truly, truly build intent with Gen Zs. And last but not least, apart from personalization with AI, build relevance with cultural moments, because that really, really leads to much higher lift that we've seen from brands across the board. And with that, I'll leave you all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Yagnesh. If I could request you to please remain on stage. And if I could please invite Varun Sethuraman, MMA India board member and head of marketing communications India Nestle, to present a token of gratitude to Yagnesh Ravi. Now, I did enjoy the AR version of yours across Amazon Prime's offerings that you shared.
Thank you so much.
But thank you so much because the era of chat is here. Can we have a round of applause, everyone? Please put your hands together for Yagnesh Ravi. Thank you so much again.